People at Work in a Big Store, a Ladybird book, first published in 1973. Many years ago, people bought most of the things they needed from stalls in the streets or in the market hall. The men and women who looked after the stalls shouted at the top of their voices to let shoppers know about their goods. Almost everything that was needed could be bought from these stalls. The stalls in the streets were not closed in, and often there was no shelter from the rain. Later, there were also small shops. These were better than street stalls because customers were protected from the weather. The small shops stayed open until very late at night, as long as customers came in. The people who owned these shops were usually a husband and wife. Their children helped them when the shops were busy. Gradually, towns grew bigger and people earned more money. More and more goods were made, and the shopkeepers needed larger shops to sell them in. However, there were still stalls, but they had to cover them over to keep off the rain. The picture shows a street market of about 60 years ago. There are street markets like this, even today. Today, most towns have some very large shops, which we call stores. In these, almost anything we need can be bought under one roof. Big stores, like the one in the picture, sell food, furniture, toys, clothes, electrical and household goods. These stores employ many people. Some of the people work behind the counters of the store where we, the shoppers, meet them. Other people, whom the shoppers never see, work in the packing rooms, storerooms and offices. When people want to work in a big store, they apply to the office of the store. If there is work for them, they meet and talk to the staff manager or manageress or the training manager. Sometimes a number of people write to the office to apply for the same job. The staff manager picks out some of the letters and asks the applicants to call and see him. He then decides which person will be the best one to do the work. The staff manager knows about all the different kinds of work that are done in the store. Many of the people that he sees are boys and girls who have just left school. Some of them want to work on the sales staff of the store and become junior sales assistants. Other people he sees are older, part-time workers. Large stores have a training officer in charge of the training department. The new staff go to talks and training courses. The training officer makes sure that they learn how the work of the store is carried out and what they have to do as part of the work. The junior sales assistants are trained usually for 2 or 3 weeks. This training starts with learning how to unpack and store goods in a large stockroom. Then the assistants are shown the right way to label articles for sale and are taught how to handle them correctly. A sales manager makes sure that experienced staff help the new assistants. They're shown which are the right shelves and display stands to be used. They are also shown how goods are date stamped or marked so that the oldest are sold first. Some things are difficult to pack. The sales staff learn how to make neat parcels. They must be able to pack such things as glass and china so that these will not be broken. The assistants learn how to work the cash registers and to fill in sales slips. They also learn how to deal with people who make complaints about goods that they have bought. Customers often want to know when goods can be delivered or about credit terms for payment. Sales assistants must know all about such problems so that they can always answer the questions that the customers might ask them. Some young people who work in big stores go to technical colleges for 1 day a week. They do this during working hours. At the technical colleges, the young people learn about special work such as hairdressing or a window display. For the rest of the week, they work in their own department in the store, watching, listening and learning from the trained people there. The hairdressing trainees watch and help the hairdressers while they are cutting, shampooing, tinting and dressing the hair. Sometimes items on display are taken from the store by people who have not paid for them. The store detective's job is to watch customers who act strangely. Sometimes television cameras, like the one at the top of the picture opposite, are used. They are placed so that anything a thief does is seen on a screen in another part of the building. The lower picture shows a customer being watched. Often in the newspapers we read about dishonest people who have been found guilty of shoplifting. This means that the store detectives have been doing their job well. Large stores sell all kinds of perfumes, face creams, face powders, lipstick and eye makeup. These are sold at the cosmetics counters, where the sales staff are always especially smart and well groomed. They enjoy their work advising and helping people to choose cosmetics. There are small samples of lipstick so that a woman can test the colours on their hands. Some of the staff go to cosmetic factories to learn more about the products they are selling. Sometimes an expert from the cosmetics firm visits the store to help and advise the sales staff. The assistants who work in the clothing departments of stores help people to choose new clothes. They are taught never to advise customers that clothes fit properly if they are either too tight or too large. They know that their customers would not be satisfied if they left the store with clothes that fitted badly. One very important part of sales staff training is to make sure that the customer chooses what he or she wants and is then satisfied with it. The people who choose the goods which the sales assistants will sell are called buyers. For example, the buyers in the clothing departments are expert at judging what women's fashions will be for the next seasons. When they have chosen the collection of clothes, they sometimes arrange fashion shows or mannequin parades for certain days. Models wear the new clothes and walk very slowly down a platform to show the audience what the clothes look like when they are being worn. There is usually a big audience when there is a fashion show in a store. Some alterations have to be made to clothes bought by customers. The customer tries on the clothes and the assistant marks the correct measurements on them. She then takes the clothes to the sewing room where the alterations are made. Dresses, skirts or coats might have to be made shorter or longer. Some clothes might need adjustment to make the seams fit them better. There is always plenty of work on clothes or other articles for the girls and women who work in the sewing room. The windows of stores always have attractive displays of goods. The goods are shown in the windows in a way that makes people want to stop and look and to go into the store to buy. There's a great deal of thought and planning before a window is dressed. In large stores there is a display manager who has a staff to work with him. They have meetings with the buyers to decide which goods must be shown and how they can be displayed to attract most attention. The display staff must have a good workroom. They also need the right tools to help them make the many eye-catching parts necessary for good window dressing. For window displays, they must have such things as artificial grass, flowers, imitation snow, felts for dressing figures, bindings, tapes, coloured papers, cane and moulding materials. In their workroom there are life-size plastic figures which the staff dress with the clothes to be shown in the store window. The people who dress the windows are usually artistic. Most of them have been on art courses to learn all they can about their work. They create attractive displays inside the store as well as in the windows. A very busy time for the staff of the big store is from the end of October until Christmas. Then it is even more important that as many goods as possible are shown as attractively as possible. Another busy time is when the store has a special sale. Then some goods are sold cheaply. Some stores have a Father Christmas in their toy department at Christmas. He is there so that children can talk to him and tell him what they would like to have as presents. Extra sales staff have to be employed by the stores during this period, and all the sales staff have a great deal of work to do. Every department in a big store has its own team of trained sales assistants working under a departmental sales manager. It is the job of all these people to give as good a service as possible to the public. Stores with very large food departments sometimes have bakeries and kitchens. Trained cooks and confectioners work there making the delicious cakes we see in the cake departments and cooking the pies and bread and meats we buy in the store. Cooks also work in the kitchens preparing food for the restaurants and cafeterias of the store. Waitresses take the orders for coffee, tea or meals from the customers in the restaurants and pass these orders to the kitchen. Some people in very large stores spend their working time getting food ready for sale. Meat is cut up by butchers and then weighed. Women and girls pack the properly weighed cuts of meat onto trays and then cover them with plastic film. They fix labels saying what the meat is and how much it costs. The trays of meat are then stacked on trolleys and an assistant pushes them into the store and packs them into the open-topped display cabinets. Lorries and vans are always going to and from a big store. Most of the goods have to be carried there from factories and warehouses. Van and lorry drivers take their loads to the unloading bays where the goods are checked by the storeman. Delivery vans are used by the stores, especially those that sell furniture and large articles. The goods are marked with the name and address of the person who has bought them and then loaded onto vans. They are then taken to the customer's home. Many people who work in big stores spend their time making sure that departments are brightly lit and well decorated. Special staff, such as carpenters and electricians, are employed for this purpose. They also see that the lifts and escalators work properly and that the heating system is working well. The stores have to be warm and pleasant places for staff and customers. If the stores were cold, we would not want to spend much time in them, so we would not buy very much. At night, even though the store is closed, many of the lights are left on. This makes it easy for burglars to be seen if they manage to break in. Night watchmen walk around the departments at different times during the night to make sure that all is well. With so much valuable stock in the building, every care has to be taken to keeping it safe. Such work as cleaning and decorating is best done at night and in the early morning when there are no customers. The staff in big stores can have their lunch in the staff restaurant or sit in the staff restrooms during their break time. In some stores, the women and girls can have their hair styled by the store hairdresser. They are also allowed time to buy food in the food department. Some stores employ a nurse to look after the health of the staff. Staff are often allowed to buy goods at a lower price than those paid by the public. The person who is in complete charge of the store is usually the general manager or the managing director. He has an office where he can study reports brought to him by his undermanager and departmental managers. All the departments of the store are in touch with the general manager's office by telephone. The general manager has to be good at organising the people who work in the store. He makes sure that they can all work well together. He has to keep in touch with modern fashions and customers' needs. And by doing this, he makes sure that his store always sells as much as possible to as many people as possible.